In Emerging Imaginal You, I describe a phase of transformation that's as uncomfortable as it is essential, a stage I call the goo. It's inspired by one of nature's most miraculous processes, the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly. Most people think of transformation as adding something new to what already exists, like bolting wings onto a caterpillar. But real metamorphosis is far more radical. When a caterpillar enters its chrysalis, it doesn't just grow wings, it dissolves completely. It becomes a formless soup, biological goo. And from this chaos, specialized imaginal cells begin the quiet, intelligent work of assembling something entirely new. That's a great metaphor for what we go through in our pivotal, dark night of the soul, personal evolutions. The goo stage feels like everything is falling apart. It often begins with some sort of collapse of what we've built our lives upon. Long held beliefs, stories about who we are, what we've been told is true and trustworthy, begin to unravel. If we thought life was about maintaining the familiar and resisting change, this stage can feel like a death. But it's not a death. It's likely the beginning of our emergence. Most of us begin life in what I call the house of order, a place of structure, certainty, and inherited answers. It's where the world makes sense, often through the lens of duality, right and wrong, black and white, success and failure. But eventually a storm arrives, a job loss, a divorce, a health scare, a profound disillusionment, or perhaps no single event, just a growing sense that the old story no longer holds water. That's when the house of order crumbles and we find ourselves residing in the house of disorder, confused, ungrounded, and grasping for meaning. This is the goo stage, the place between chapters, the terrain where the old self melts, but the new self has yet to emerge. People may be terrified of this stage, and understandably so. When our worldview dissolves, it can feel like insanity, like being in quicksand where we once had solid ground. We begin to ask hard questions. If most everything I thought was true and load bearing isn't, what is? Where do I go from here? There's often resistance, an urge to return to the house of order, to rebuild the same faulty foundation as before, even when it no longer fits. But the goo is sacred. It's not a detour, it's the path. Those imaginal cells, your latent potentials, your deeper intelligence, your future self, are already inside you, waiting to be activated by the collapse of what was. I've experienced this firsthand. During my own periods of dissolution, what often dissolved weren't just ideas, but the foundational premises underneath them. We all build our lives on stacked assumptions about reality, about our identity, about safety, about separateness. But what happens when even one of these foundational assumptions proves faulty? It's like yanking out a key load bearing pillar from the center of a building. The structure wobbles, then crumbles. But once it does, you're free to build something better, something more reliable and more authentic. This isn't just about individuals. I believe humanity itself is currently in a collective goo stage. The disorientation, polarization, and upheaval we see in the world may not be signs of decay, but symptoms of rebirth. We're watching old systems, beliefs, and power structures dissolve because they were always flawed, never intended to serve the whole. The process is messy, painful, and filled with uncertainty, but it may also be necessary. The new is not likely to emerge until after the unsoundness of the old is on full display. Transformation, whether personal or collective, is not about comfort, it's about evolution. And evolution may require shedding the skin of our old self. If you find yourself in the goo right now, confused, untethered, questioning everything, know this: you are not lost, you are not broken, you are in mid metamorphosis. Trust that within the soup, something exquisite is forming, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. And if you can bravely stay with the discomfort, if you can resist the urge to prematurely rebuild and instead listen deeply, emerging imaginal, you will begin to take shape. What emerges on the other side won't just be a better version of a caterpillar, it will be an entirely new being, one capable of holding more light, one capable of taking flight. What will it be? The proceeding was generated by an AI ghostwriter from Bob Cochran's writing and sampled voice. For more information on Bob's first book, Emerging Imaginal You, a time-traveling note to self from the corner of science and spirituality, or his second book, Hyperdimensional You, Surfing the Shift Toward Mastery, check out Clever, the number 2, Wise, that's clever2wise.com. On Facebook, search for hashtag Clever2Wise. To help this work continue, like and share Bob's YouTube videos, which can be located by searching for @Clever2Wise. To be notified as new videos become available, click subscribe.